morning. Lynn here from Early Riser Crafting. It's a little cloudy out today, so pardon me if my video is a little on the dark side, but no, we are not designing wallpaper. But if you continue watching my videos and tuning into my channel, you might end up being a wallpaper designer. But for now, what I wanted to show you was what they're selling at Dollar Tree. $1. This is a wallpaper sheet. It's self-stick. You put it on your wall. See, they show a picture of it right there. And it's $1. But it makes a great surface because it's waterproof to do what we're doing today. So I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to try to straighten it out so we see straight lines. Because today we are using water. And I'm taping this down to my desk with removable Scotch tape, double-sided. It's got to be double-sided. I just put it in the corner. I don't use a lot of the tape up because tape is expensive. So I just use what I need for doing some water techniques with distressed inks. So to begin, I want you to see some postcards my sister made me. She actually sent this in the mail. And the little type behind the butterfly, that's all glued on. This is glued on. And look the post office didn't destroy it. These are her stamps, feel label, documented, her little polka dot stencil, and then her watercolor technique in the background. And this is something smaller that she did not send in the mail. This she just sent to me. Same idea. There's a watercolor technique in the background, and then some stamping, then some circles, some white splattered circles, and use your wings and fly. So now I'm going to show you my version. So this is the one I did using distressed inks, watered down with a spray bottle, and then one of my doodle trees, one of my quotes. Trees are poems that the earth writes upon the sky. Caleb Gibran. The word documented like my sister does. I like when she does that. And numbers always look cool, different types of numbers. And I did all of these numbers in Word. In Word. So Word does a lot of things. You don't always have to use, I don't always have to use pages. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to do this on an index card, because that's what I use for this one. Our colors will be Vintage Photo. I use it all the time. Shabby Shutters, which is a green. Tumbled Glass, which is a really pretty blue, greenish oceany blue. And then Picket Fence we'll use towards the end. And then a metallic gold stamp, which we will also use to the end. Sorry about the glare on that. So the way this is done, and this is going to look crazy, but this is how we do it. You take your oxide, and this is what I'm going to be doing it on, and you go like that. Then you spray it. Get it nice and watery. Then you take your index card and you do something like this. Looks crazy, I know, but it's going to work. You'll see. It's all about layering your art. And now we have to wait for that to dry. So now this is dry. Well, it's dry enough. I dried it with a battery-operated hand fan. Kind of goes quick. And then I just take one of my baby wipes. Always have them at my desk. Wash this away because we're going to go to the next color. We're going to clean this up very quickly. And the next color will be Shabby Shutters. Going to do the same thing. Smush it down. Get my water bottle, spray bottle, spray that up nice. Take my index card. Now I'm going to just kind of do the same thing. See that? A little green, a little extra green. Get a little bit more. Okay, and now we'll wait for that to dry. So that's dry, at least it's dry enough. Now the next color, Tumbled Glass. It's a really pretty greenish blue. Same thing. Do that. Okay, and now I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna rub it too much. See how that looks now? How pretty that is. Okay, now we'll wait for that to dry. In order to save time, because this is going to take a while to dry, I could see there's a real wet spot there. I'm going to go to this one, which is basically the same colors. I had done this one earlier, so I know it's completely dry. So now we'll go to the next step. And just as a reminder, my sister, you see how she stamps little words? Stamp, that's one of her stamp. The stamp we're going to use, I'm going to use, is this one, very popular stamp. I have put it in the description below. It's on Amazon for $4.99, which is a good price. Look at how big it is. If you're a Prime member, you won't be charged shipping. But that is a nice size. And I don't even put it on an acrylic block. You don't have to, because it's not going to be perfect. Doesn't have to be. So we're going to take Vintage Photo, and we're going to just take portions of this stamp. So watch what I do. I just flip it over. I don't even need, like, not even worried, because we just do it here and there. So I'm going to lay it down there. I'm going to press nice and hard. See, and it's going to go in and out. I mean, I'm not going to be doing this as the main design. It sort of falls into the background. That's the whole idea. Then I want a few more words, so let's see what I could do. I'm going to take the lower corner. It just has some script writing right here. Maybe I'm going to put that down here. See, not perfect. Doesn't have to be. And I do like that word Constantine. That's really nice. So I'm going to just hit the corner, hold it. Boom. Okay. And I'm done with that. You can see the metallic gold my sister put over this. So I want to do some metallic gold over mine. So I'm going to use a stamp pad. Metallic gold stamp pad. I'm not even going to, I'm just going to go like this. hit or miss. Around the corners, along the side. I'm not going to worry too much about anything. Oops, that one I did a little too much, but that's okay. All right, I think I like that for now, so I'm going to put that right there. And now for the next step. Now, you know those solo cups you get restaurants, takeout food? Well, this is the top actually to a Pepto-Bismol bottle, but it's a good size. It's a good circle size. So I'm going to use it as my stamp. Turn it upside down, because you could use any kind of cap if you don't have a circle stamp. Now I'm going to just do a few of these circles. I just need some little darkness with some circles. As if it's like a coffee stain. See that? That always looks pretty cool. See that circle right in there? It's cool, right? I mean, you can't be afraid. Do one thing on top of the next. You know, if you're not going to have fun, you got to have fun with it. Make a mistake. Mistakes are the best thing because it forces you to do something different. So I'm happy with those. I think that worked out perfectly. Maybe one more in this corner. No, I ran out of ink. Let's see, one more in that corner. Yep. Now for the next step. Now this is just cheapo white acrylic paint. You know, student version, nothing really fancy. Cheapest thing you could find in Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You know, those little sets they sell for kids. That's all you need. So you water it down a little bit. See, I made sure there's some water in there. And now I'm going to use a cap to something else I have. I don't know. Because I want to put some white in it. See those white circles? I use this cap for these circles, believe it or not. So this is the next step. Don't want to do too many, but I do want to do the right amount. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to do one here. Wow, that's too strong. Oh, I'll have to cover that up with something. That went definitely too strong. And you know what? I just realized I made a mistake. Okay, but you know what? That's not the next step. So I'm going to just hold my horses and show you what the actual next step is. Now, I did all these quotes in Word. Some of them are actually not for this project, but because I do journals, I like these to throw in a journal. Like, for instance, start writing no matter what the water, no matter what. The water does not flow until the faucet is turned on. So you got to start somewhere. But Anne Frank, I can shake off everything as I write. My sorrows disappear. My courage is reborn. Really beautiful. These are those little numbers that I put up in the corner. So I'll be taking those. And, all right, so I won't be taking the quotes, but I do have to cut out the two numbers. Now I want to go around the edges to give my numbers a little emphasis. So I'm going to go and darken them all around the edges with the vintage photo. Can't live without vintage photo. Put that there. I like the way the blues look. I might have, you know what, I think I just went over a little bit Looks like I dirtied this a little bit more, so it wasn't such a bright blue. Yeah. And then I got to do the number 4. I don't know, I just picked these 2 numbers. You know, I might have used a darker color for the 4. As you can see, I have a nice dark line there. This looks a little bit light. Okay, let me get another color out. So the color I'm going to go with is black soot. But I'm not going to do it too heavy. And I'll just go a little bit over, because I do want some extra black. Yeah, I like that. I want it to just stand out just a little bit more, because color is so important for balance and composition. It's not just the objects that make the composition, it's also the way you lay out the color. Okay, now going back to this little guy, I'm going to be a little more careful the way I put the white on the edge so it's not too strong. I think I wanted to overlap the 5, and then maybe, let's see, right there. Okay, I'm liking the way that looks. I don't need a million of these, just a few. Just a few. I don't want to overdo it. And maybe, let's see, one in this corner. And can you see that? And let's see, maybe a little overlap here. And maybe one here. Well, let's see. Way at the bottom. And maybe one up here. I think that's a good spread. Okay, now we go to the Picket Fence Distressed Ink, not oxide. I don't think he makes this in an oxide. Now what you do with this is you just lighten certain areas. You can go over it's subtle, but it does add another dimension. And I might do a little here, and maybe a little off the page here. See how I'm just putting a little bit off the page. Let's see, maybe some down here. You see it, but you don't see it. That's the kind of thing that we're working for. See how subtle that is? You seeing that good? Right in there. Let's see, maybe just a little more in here. It's also a way of getting rid of if you feel like you did too much gold. You can do the white, and it kind of takes away some of the gold, even though I do like the gold, but it kind of calms it down. See, that's all these little things help with mistakes. I put the number down here to hide that bigger circle, and then I'll put a word here or something, and then that'll just disappear. So I'm not too worried about that. Now the next step would be to take a brush and take acrylic paint and just kind of like flip it. So we're going to try that. Okay, so I have this in a box. I don't want to make a mess of my table. So this is the way you do this. Cut down the box on this side so I can put my hand through. Now I'm going to dip the tip of this brush. I don't want it too wet, but I don't want it too dry. And what you do is, see, I practice right there, right on the box. I like the effect, so I'm going to go for it. And that's good enough for me. So now I look over it. I like the splatter of the white. I like where it landed. Very natural and haphazard. But I'd like to see just a couple more dots in a couple places. So I cheat a little bit. I take out my white pen and I have put this in the description by Uniball. Signo, see that? And what I'm going to do now is put in some of my own dots where, like this area, I'd like to see a few more dots. So now I'm pretty much at the end of this little project. And I think I'm going to go with this cutout that I already had. And I went around with the same color we used, tumbled glass, to get some blue in there. And then I went back to the black soot and I went around to give it some depth because I love this circle right here. So I'm thinking of putting that there. And then I have a butterfly, but I think the butterfly is going to be too much unless I can make it darker. Or I can put the word documented, but I have to be able to calm it down a little bit. It's a little too much. So I'm going to play with that. So for this, I had to go around with the tumbled glass to lighten up that dark brown. And then I realized the white lettering was just too bright. So I had to go over that, not too dark, with the vintage photo. And now I think it has the subtlety that I'm looking for, because I don't want it to compete with my bee image. And then I was looking at my bee image, and I think now it works. Well, maybe I'll try one more thing. I'll use my gold gel pen, and I'll go around all these dots. And you can see the little gold dots. Just give it that little oomph for when I glue it down here with my berry art glue. Okay, so now that I have distressed all around it for some definition with the vintage photo, the next step is, am I going to use this in a journal? Could be a pocket. I'm thinking, I like it as a card. So let me bring out one of those craft cards. Now, I wouldn't put lace under this. I just don't see it as a lace image. But I do like the idea of it going on a craft card. Tilt it a little bit. And then continuing some of the elements that are in the card on the craft paper. So that we're going to do next. Okay, so keeping the card right here as a reminder of what I'm trying to do, I'm going to tilt it a little bit. I'm going to take that gold metallic stamp. I'm just going to do some some craziness on it. Going around the edge. Okay, that's the first step. So now I don't want to compete with the card itself. I just want this to fall into the background. So I'm going to go back to that solo cup that we used for the brown circles. I'm going to make a couple of brown circles. Not too many, but just to sort of mimic what's happening in the card. And it's not cooperating with me very well. I don't know why. I'm not really getting a good circle anywhere. Well, that's a little better. I don't really have another option because I don't have anything this big to make a circle. Well, I'm getting there. It's taking a little bit of time, but I'm getting there. Okay, so that's much better. I had to go over each one at least 3 times. And then see, now I can put that there, and there's some action in the background. I'm not quite finished, but almost. So I'm just about ready to glue that down. And I will take my berry glue. Going into the corners. Making sure I get into the corners. Corners are very important. We don't want it to lift. Especially if we're selling our cards. We wouldn't want to do that to a customer. And then we're just going to place it just so. Just so it's not, oops, tilted it a little too much. Yeah, I like that. That works. If a little glue came off, I just pick it up. Okay. And now for the finishing touch. Because it needs one more thing. And that's little white dots. But I'm not going to, of course, spray it with the brush and the acrylic paint. That would be way too dangerous. So I'm going to go back to my white Uniball pen. I love this pen. It's wonderful. And now I'm just going to go in the background and put some dots here and there. I think the white dots, I put too many. They're kind of popping out too much. So I'm going to go back with this pen that I used around this perimeter. I'm going to kind of make them gold. So I'm going to work on that now. And now to wrap this card up, took a index card, same size as this one. Went around the edges with the vintage photo. Then I have this little dotted, I think it's retired, it's from Stampin' Up. It's this little odd dot. So I'm going to take the metallic gold stamp, and I'm just going to, I'm not going to go crazy, you know, I'm just going to do the 2 sides. It'll be cute. I just keep going back and forth. One more. No, I gotta go further in right here. Okay, just like that, just fun. You know, you gotta have fun. So now I'm just gonna glue it in, and this card will be complete. I would love to use this for the envelope, but it's two-dimensional. If somebody wanted to buy the card and they wanted to mail it, they couldn't mail it with this. It's too thick and heavy. Would get all ripped up. So I had to put a little butterfly, but I love that little butterfly. I wanted to use it on the front of this card. So now we have the opening, and I tilted it, just like the front was tilted. And this little baby is ready to go to the craft fair. Maybe I'll sell it, maybe I won't, but I love it, and I had fun making it with you. Now, my last thing, shall I put this on a card? Just the way I did the other one, a craft card. This one is larger. I bought these at Walmart. Then it has a green index card. I'll show you what I'm going to do in 1 minute. Dun, da, da, da. I framed it under glass. Very lightweight frame. Very, very small border. So it's mostly the artwork that you see, because it has a very contemporary look, and the frame is contemporary. So even though the colors are vintage, a lot going on, a lot happening. And then I did the gold, if you notice, along the black mat, I did the gold stamp being pad. The stamping pad, just brushed it through to sort of bring the whole thing together. I know there's some glare on it, but I hope you enjoyed this segment. And until the next time, have a great day.